think we're having executive session.
I have a lot to be down.
I'm just
theorizing. I'll probably want about 2 more minutes.
okay.
Because I didn't get to, yeah. So same reason, 2 minutes. Be back here at 11.
Shall we go 5?
Yeah, because it takes us a minute to
Get over there. So 5?
Yeah, 5 is fine.
Walk faster.
Do I hear a second?
Second it?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're going to leave this room.
Be back
We'll
now.
be back at 9:39 in seconds. Oh.
Michael, did you go to or see the city planning commission meeting yesterday, last night?
I did not. I had to go. I had to take my aunts and uncles to hospitals in Kansas City yesterday.
Oh. I was up in Kansas City too, so I didn't watch until I came home late last night.
I wanted to go to the airport board as well to explain to them about that supersonic transport corridor and how we fit right on the eastern turn. And at least keep them abreast of, let's just get somebody in the room. I don't know if there's any money available there or not, but it sounds like it's going to be a fairly large undertaking by private industry. It's not a non-military aircraft.
Ah.
So it'll be coming out of Wichita. Just get in the room and make sure there's no opportunities.
If there's some opportunity, we need to be able to try to grasp it.
Yeah.
There was still quite a bit of verbal contention. Were you at the commission meeting last night, yesterday?
Oh, me?
Yes.
So, no, I think Tammy was.
I was at the commission meeting. I made it last night, but I didn't get the daytime meetings.
Oh. Well, it was the planning session, and they were talking about city ordinance 31 again. And
Yeah, I think Tammy observed that. I haven't.
Yeah. Skitch was late, and Doctor read a statement, and Pete was restating. Yeah, yes.
That was discussion on the charter ordinance, right?
Yeah, charter ordinance going on. I think when people go to vote, they're going to be kind of confused whether the yes or the no is.
We're going to try some more education between now and the 5th, so.
Were you the one that did the?
Yes.
Okay.
It caused a problem.
Well, no, I'm just because Pete wants. I guess Pete and Skitch would like to see the ordinance change before it.
Well, the ordinance was passed, and then a protest petition was filed, so it was never enacted.
Yeah, okay.
And the petition basically gives them the right to, under home rule, take Kansas law and set it aside and do things they want to do with the sewer fund and the stormwater fund.
So this vote on the 5th would do what?
But either, if you vote yes, you'll allow them to supersede a Kansas statute and do as they like, or if you vote no, the Kansas statute would prevail.
Okay. And it says that on the language?
The ballot language says to activate ordinance 31 yes, or not if you vote no.
What is your projection for the vote? Prediction, yes.
My prediction is that there's going to be very few voters, and you will have a strong feeling either way.
Is there anything else on this January 5th ballot? No.
Unless you live in Georgia.
Yeah, unless you live in Georgia, yeah. Which what? They've already received 1 million votes.
Millions, I'm not surprised.
You guys don't really walk with a purpose, you're not getting much exercise.
Well, they're already complaining how far it is slower because
Yeah.
probably workman's comp claims here by the end of the day.
Yeah. Little grill cream and I'm trying to think what else.
Gel, that's it.
To be used in the barber shop.
What was was that called?
Little dabble do ya, which one?
VO5 or Brill
Was it
Cream?
Brill Grease? Yeah, Brill
No,
Grease.
Brill
Cream.
Brill cream, butch wax.
Butch wax.
That was if you had a crew cut. and you
Yeah,
wanted to stand
yeah.
up. I was the youngest of brothers, so, you know, when they're in the military, they've got their high-end tight cuts, but that wasn't enough hair up there to do anything with. But, remember, penny loafers were a big deal at school. I don't see your pennies in there, Michael.
Oh, these have tassels instead.
Okay, all right,
I've graduated.
yes.
I don't have any pennies anymore.
He lost his sense.
You know, yeah, for some reason, I was thinking about that the other day, and I thought, you know, maybe I should get a pair of those and put a bright and shiny penny in it. Well, while they're still in circulation, all cash transactions will be removed, by 20,
Something like that.
yeah.
No pennies very soon.
Well, now that's one that pennies, even nickels need.
So do you think gas will still be priced at 129.99?
Yeah. You haven't really been able to pay for cash for gas very easily for a long time.
Yeah.
But you know, when my mother and I were talking about how my grandfather used to put pennies in a fuse box.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, now they're zinc, so they would just melt.
Oh, you're a minute late.
In seconds.
9:40.
Well, just one person was.
Yeah.
Okay, no action at the present time, but there will be action a little later on that executive session. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion. We're starting to get a little late in the season here, but this is the transition to the new commission. I'm going to make a motion to name Clifton Beth as being the lead on the medical mall project.
Now, we actually
We
did that
did it,
about a
we
month
did it.
ago. Yes.
But not not in this meeting.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
do I hear a second?
I second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, and there's another one that's coming up, so I'll need to have permission. Well, we need to have another session on that later. But, let me see where we're at right now. You got 5 minutes?
Yeah, yeah.
I would like to amend the agenda to insert a executive session for here. Confidential data relating to financial affairs or trade secrets of corporation, partnership, trust, individual proprietorships, preliminary discussions. No, that was all. I hear a second?
I second that.
5 minutes, 3 commissioners. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're gonna leave this room and we'll be back at 9:47. Hey, Mark.
I shall retire.
We're both retired.
Medical mall project.
You're on.
I don't know, whether they just get this.
I have not heard, they won't say anything. I can't get anything out of them. We've had several executive sessions lately about that.
I see. Well, are we?
I'm too fast today.
Can you get into your little room now?
Oh, well, I hope I end pretty quick. Look there, they got this thing running.
Some kind of agreement, I'm not sure why they can't. Or find something.
Where's this? Trying to back that one on.
Okay, so we're back in session. I request permission to sign a business contract dealing with a possible business going into our incubator building.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No Sparks update. We did have a meeting real quick on Sparks. Everything's going well. It's all pretty well done now. Bond refinance, number 945. I got some correspondence from Greg. He needs permission, me to have permission to meet with Kendall and S&P to start this process on the bond rating. Let's see if I can get that up real quick. And the other part of that is he sent me preliminary on the S&P for the bond refinance for the sewer district. He said it'd be substantial and wanted to know if we wanted to pay it off
Include
early
that?
or lower payments. Of course, you know, I'm all for paying it off early.
If we can afford it.
What's that?
If we can afford it.
So the
Well, we
question,
can because it's already a fixed cost.
Okay.
so the question is that included in this scope? Is that the question?
What was that?
So I thought
What was
last
the
week,
choice?
I thought last week we authorized moving forward
What
with
we
this
did at
proposal.
the S&P meeting, I'm gonna bring it up here real quick.
Okay,
Because I just received that. Maybe. Craig. Good grief.
That's what you're looking for?
Yeah, that's it. All right, it's the occasional letter for transaction that, we recently requested be rated by S&P Global Ratings. Must indicate, now this is one, all I need to do is indicate that we were able to process this, and this is another one. It's a meeting with the S&P and,
in the
county
clerk's
clerk
office.
and myself. I just need,
Permission?
need permission to meet.
Well, I make a motion that Mr. O'Hare and the clerk and Greg can meet and discuss the bond refinancing with S&P.
I second that.
Any discussion?
Do we want to expand that to the sewer, consider expanding to include the sewer district?
And expand that to discuss the sewer district.
And as soon as I get this next email up, I'll send it to you too,
Okay.
on the S&P. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm
Head out there.
3 points of contact.
Yes, at all times.
Okay, this is from the executive session. I'll make a motion. that we allow Justin Meeks to draw up a new business contract, or a new contract for a business manager position.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We've got about 15 minutes. Bobby, you're here, you wanna go ahead?
That's up to you guys. I didn't know if we had to go in order or not.
No, we don't have to, it's on the agenda, we'll just rearrange the order. I move we rearrange the order so Mr. Reed can go ahead and make his presentation on the budget.
You have to have the budget hearing at 10. It's been published for that to be at 10.
What's that?
So Kendall's reminding us that the budget hearing must be at 10, and that is in 5
Oh,
minutes.
5 minutes, okay, that's fine. You
Fine,
got
Lloyd.
more 5 minutes?
You got any information you're gonna distribute? We could take an opportunity to look through if you're providing us with any kind of data. Make
Yes
copies
and no, but I don't think I can get it done in 5 minutes.
Okay. We'll wait.
We'll catch you at the regular scheduled time. Hi, Mr. Surser.
Beautiful Tuesday morning.
It's the best day in December, isn't it?
It's nothing wrong with that.
So are the days getting longer?
When is that? Is it
Tonight.
Not yet, not yet.
Tonight?
Tonight.
Tonight's the shortest night.
This is,
Well, that's exciting.
yeah. And tomorrow you'll really notice.
Just think. The days get longer.
So which two planets are close together? Is it Saturn and
Venus and Jupiter,
Venus and Jupiter? So not the one with the big rings?
that's Saturn.
Does that mean this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius?
It depends on who you talk to. If you talk to whoever sang that song, probably.
Down forward.
Do you know what that tune is?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was just curious.
your email is Jeff Fisher?
jfisher@bourboncountyks.org.
Gotcha.
I think that's when all planets align, right?
It is.
And then Jupiter aligns in its path.
Touchy old bones.
So
How
how
do
do
we do, I'm late paying my taxes, man. How do we pay the taxes?
Hey, the Dropbox.
Is it, I don't have my receipt with me. I don't even know.
We got a sheriff here, we'll take you right into custody if he come up with it.
That's a civil warrant, so.
So can you pay taxes online? I was thinking you could.
Maybe
Is there-
online, yeah.
Is there a fee for that in Bourbon County?
Like a couple bucks or something. Heck, all right, well, when they're gonna be open? Are they still shut for like
Monday.
10 days or Monday?
Something like that.
I heard the
I'll
28th.
come back Monday then.
Now, that doesn't change the due date.
So it's time for our budget hearing. The hearing is now open
There.
to the public.
Got my hand out, what?
Oh, I was just listening. It's a hearing.
Terry? What are we supposed to listen to? Terry? Do you have extra funds?
Extra phones? No.
Surplus?
Oh, the changes, a summary of the changes? What goes on at a hearing like this? I know we've talked about it. Do we talk about it again?
Well, what the best thing that happens at a hearing like this is no one shows up and you say, okay, we approved this to publish 10 days ago and now let's prove it.
We did.
Now, if it's a bad deal where you're really raising taxes or doing something, this room would be packed and we wouldn't be socially distanced, and that would mean the meeting might take an hour or so. But since we've already reviewed it, it's a formality to give people a chance to say, hey, I don't want you to raise the budget for whatever reason.
Okay, so what, and again, big broad brush strokes, what I remember I don't know if it's Department of Corrections or the sheriff, basically we've increased their budget perhaps $100,000.
Yeah.
And they've also been recipients of probably about $100,000 of grant money, so we're really allowing them the ability to spend that grant money, is
Right.
that correct?
That's part of it, but it's not just them. I mean, there were three.
Yes,
I mean, bridge and
Three
culvert, ambulance, and landfill.
And the
road-
ambulance is one of those things too, where we had to increase the spending authority.
We had more money come in, need
We
more
had more
spend.
receipts from the, right.
Exactly.
Is that the only copy that you have of the changes?
I sent a copy a
And
week or
it's
two
been in the
ago, if I
paper,
could make
yes.
a copy.
Right, you did.
I can make some copies.
Yeah, I'll run me before I leave, I'll make you a copy, Mike. But, so yeah, just, some of those funds, I mean, let's see, there's only, bridge and culvert, ambulance, yeah, ambulance. One thing, we had a problem with the public safety fund, which includes the fire, the police and the jail, was there's a flaw in the budget form. You're way short on motor vehicle taxes. And I thought, why are they so short in receiving mill? Because, you have a mill levy and you get motor vehicle allocated to you based
Right.
on your mill levy. I thought, man, you're about 40,000 short, really short. And I thought, what the heck? So I looked into it, and the budget form says these are the dollars for the year and you allocate it to the funds, the way it was done. But the problem is that pie that you allocate was allocated properly, but the last payment that is received in December isn't paid out until January. And so 2 years ago was the first year that we had a levy in the public safety. So there's a levy. So the next year, there was the first time we had motor vehicle allocated to it. But all of it didn't get there in the same year. The last payment of 2020 motor vehicle taxes will be distributed over to them in January. So that's why it looks like it's 40,000 or so short.
So this is kind of a consequence when we put the public safety out of the general fund.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's a timing thing, and I called a couple other clerks, or treasurers, say, hey, am I looking at this wrong? Say, yeah, that is a problem. If you have a new fund that never had a levy, which we had,
Yep.
and so it did not get the amount of motor vehicle we thought it was going to get this year, or at least the way the form allocated it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. There's a flaw in the,
So next year we'll know.
yeah. Well,
Sure, leave it
the general fund got more, well, the general fund it's a year behind, so like the final payment of the year before's wasn't paid over until this year. January of 2020 was motor vehicle taxes from 2019 that was included as part of the public safety fund in 2019 when it was in the general fund, but it was put into the general fund in January of 2020. So general fund got a little more this year
Yes.
than it would have, this year being 2020, whereas public safety got less this year because their final payment didn't get put in there until January, or will get put in there in January. It's crazy, but
We have that more than one fund that happens to.
well, and sometimes you may have a fund that doesn't have a big bill levy one year, and the next year it does, and so usually if the mill levy's pretty level, it doesn't matter. But this year it really stuck out, and I was kind of worried when I first started looking at it. I thought, what the heck is that? But it was purely a timing thing, purely. So
So you've been busy?
sure. Not as busy I'll be in 2 weeks, tax season starting up. No, it's, God, I hope we can get over this mask stuff soon.
Me too.
We all do, I know,
I'm ready,
but
been ready. You heard about that new strain in England?
really, that's what I was afraid of. I mean, yeah, we'll see.
A mutant strain.
No, stop it.
But it appears, that there's still data yet to collect on it, but, there's nothing as of yet to believe that the current vaccine is going to be ineffective against this new mutant. And it was described to me as, these spike strips that they throw out and catch cars with vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the coronavirus, is kind of like a spike strip, and what the vaccine does is it essentially bonds to the tips of those spikes that prevents that virus from ripping into a cell and recreating itself.
Wow. Hmm.
So basically the virus is, if you can imagine, tips on the ends of the spike strips.
Yeah, we can go on and on about it. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not going to take it unless I have to, but I mean, I don't like the fact I really haven't seen it work yet, or whether it's what it's going to do. And I don't like the fact they granted the pharmacies immunity if there's something wrong with it. If I grow a third ear or something, so
Well,
tough luck,
If you
man.
watch 60 Minutes, you'll get reassurance that they've been working on the same technology for 15 years.
Well,
So-
that's encouraging, isn't it? 15 years. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I mean, I need to have something to get confidence back in people and working again, but it's,
So it's the same challenge with SARS and MERS and other places. They've been through the routine.
Well, that's been kind of a long drawn out process on this one.
seems like it, yeah.
But apparently this new strain, this new mutant, is easier to catch.
But not as deadly, maybe. I don't know.
We don't know
It's
yet.
contagious.
I know they're shutting down all the transportation going into other countries.
How'd you like to be stuck in Europe right now?
You don't know how much there's politics in it.
Australia, I would say, it's summertime there.
I wouldn't mind Australia this time of year, yeah.
Really, yeah, no winter.
I don't plan to go in the near future.
I think they've already burned up most of everything burned up over there, haven't they?
Well, they had fires there last year, for sure.
Well, that's all I really have to say.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward, unless there's any comments. Public, just publisher, approver, and I'll send you another official copy to file officially.
So the last official action is 10:15 is to approve it.
Okay, well, I guess I won't pay my taxes today. Maybe I'll be back next week then. See y'all.
You better watch out. The
Hey, Merry Christmas.
due
Same
date
to
is
you.
still, when's the due date?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
You know, that's a flaw in the law. They ought to penalize you. I was a week late a couple of years ago. It was 23 cents or something. It's just a percentage fee. It's not a penalty, it's an interest they charge. So, heck,
You know
why?
what they do in Florida? They give you a % discount each month that you prepay.
Wow,
So like you can pay it in November, but if you don't pay it till April, and you get 5%.
wow. I'd go pay
It's
it.
also so good with math in Florida, I'm sure that works out.
Hey, at least their count got done on time, unlike some states that are still.
They learned from the Chad.
Unless your name is Chad, then it's not good.
Florida doesn't have any state tax,
No income tax.
State income tax, nope.
Yes.
is it Texas? I think of that email from Greg.
Greg,
Yeah,
okay. I never did get the report from Cheyenne.
oh, I'll get that to you right now. I'll get back in my inbox. Cheyenne bicycle.
Here's an extra copy if anyone from the public wants to look at it.
Thank you.
This is for Patty Love.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, all right.
Two,
Pay my taxes then. All right, well, I'll leave. I don't think anything exciting happened in the next 5 minutes. You all have a good Christmas. It's
Bye,
almost here.
Terry. We'll see you later.
And I guess, we're getting the policy through someone else.
I don't know, I didn't know that, Justin and Lynn were gonna be working on it.
Yeah, I
So
heard.
he's just sent that, yes.
I haven't got, they haven't got back with me at Crawford County. They called in.
And the recovery office never got back with me either, so it must not be that important. And like Monica said, it thinks it might be more of a request, not like a mandatory.
I think it's a mandatory thing, but it's one of
It
those
should
things,
be,
it's just like a
yeah.
checklist, they go down and check it, we have it, check it, and since we didn't say yes, they're
Yeah.
questioning it. It's not that big a deal at all, it's just a
No, just give us
formality.
the verbatim, the verbiage that needs to be in it.
Right,
We can
let's
pass
know what
it.
it should be, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try Crawford again, and see if they'll say.
yes,
Well, and I
On the back?
sent Kendall a message, I said, she's got it, any friends over, any clerks that might have access to it either. It's gotta have that specific CRF language in it. Congress did finally pass that they are lengthening
charge
our
for bond rating
timeline a year.
Oh, right.
So that's good. So if there's any pennies or anything that come up short, we'll have,
What time to?
yeah.
Okay, very good, I'll let you know when I hear back.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me know.
Yeah, I will.
well, I do initial, right?
If you're a bottom line looker on budget or spreadsheets, you're gonna see that you proposed or adopted $4.49 million budget, but yet you spent 7.6. And that's because of the 2.9 Sparks money.
Okay,
So,
the grant money, yeah.
but if you just look at the bottom line, it looks like you really messed up.
Oh, man, line is.
So what was the difference, about 200 and, excluding
About
the
$3
2
million.
point? Huh?
About $3 million.
Yeah, but excluding
See, if you look here, you go, wow, but it's because of that. And then your various smaller amounts above,
The difference is this is,
2211.
no, 12, 15,000.
Yeah.
Difference between that is 100,000. Difference between that is 100,000, so. What's this? 1.16. A few thousand, so 20, 30,000.
But when you come down and put that in.
So, yeah, the 2,900,000 kind of makes that figure look pretty dramatic.
Would you just float to the bottom line like
Right.
some would?
So, the budget amendment hearing is now closed, and I move that we approve the amended certified amended budget for year 2020.
I second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. You're gonna run out of ink. Hate that when that happens. Here you go, Jeff. All right, Judy.
All right, I would ask, oh, come on, get in the microwave.
Don't get in the microwave.
Not the microwave, the microphone. For an executive session to discuss proprietary financial affairs of a business. I just need about 10 minutes.
I move that we go into an executive session to discuss financial affairs or trade secrets of corporation, partnership, trust, or individual proprietorships.
And how long?
Just 10 minutes,
10 minutes?
yeah.
Commission and Jody,
Here a second?
did I make the motion?
Oh, I second it.
Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Gonna meet.
So we're gonna meet back here.
We're gonna
Back
leave.
in this room at
10:27, 10:27.
All right.
Okay, Bobby, you're up.
Okay. Well, I am coming before you to ask very politely on behalf of my department, sheriff's department, and any other department that this may affect. I'm gonna lay some groundwork, so hopefully everybody can see or maybe understand, and maybe my point of view is wrong on this. When we fill out our any budget, when we go through the budget process, contractual commodities, capital overlay, and wages. Those are the 4 areas that we fill out a budget on. On our wage part, we are not asked, we are told not to figure in any raises or anything like that. I mean, that's just standard, which is fine. But the one thing that we do not budget for, since I've been here for 8 years, is prior year's vacation rollover. So I'll go back. Now that I've laid that foundation, I'll go back and Resolution 3120 was sent out to us. Basically what it says is that any vacation will roll over and you'll have until the end of April of 2021 to use it, okay? So then I wanted to clarify, so I emailed the clerk's office and I asked Kendall, because I wanted to be sure before I came up here. I said, if they don't use don't use this until, no. If we have an employee or employees that fall under this category, will monies be held back from the 2020 budget to pay for this carryover time, or will it be taken out of the 2021 budget? Furthermore, how do we get a code on timesheets on the vacation? The reply was, if they don't use it until 2021, it'll come out of the 2021 budget. I think Commissioner Beth had lightly addressed last week that, in his opinion, he feels that the vacation policy needs to be looked at by the commission, further, or the new commission or a commission, and hopefully make some changes. What I am, if my calculations are correct, just off my budget alone, I'll have 221 hours carried over. If I multiplied that at just the regular rate, that everybody, the lowest rate, and some of them are staggered, that's gonna cost $2,600, almost $2,700 out of my budget. That's also gonna, that's just for the person's taking the vacation. Then it's also gonna cost me an additional $4,000 to cover that in overtime. So right there, my budget's gonna get hit for a total of 67, almost 6,800 bucks. But on the low end, 6,700, I didn't budget for it in 2021. Now, on behalf of the Sheriff's Department, they're again in a unique situation because they have 6 people on their staff that have accrued vacation for the last 2.5 years. That's a benefit. They can accrue it. They don't have to use it by an end of, they have to use it by the end of this month, but they can accrue it for 2.5 years. That's a benefit. And for them to lose it, I think is bad business on the county's part. For instance, and I'm not gonna say any names, but there's a certain employee who was an employee of mine at the jail. They came over through my leadership or whatever, they developed skills and moved on to the next level, which is what we want. He had occurred several hours of vacation. He then has to go to the academy. He then will not be out of the academy until at least the third week in March. So now he's going to have 4 weeks to use 4 weeks of vacation when he just got out of the, there's no way for him to use this vacation because he's in training, it's rolling over. So, and according to the list that was put out, this is the most recent list, with those 6 employees that have had the benefit of occurring this for the last 2.5 years, there's a total of 640 hours. That's going to be almost an $8,900 hit to the 2021 budget if they have to use it in the first four months. Plus, on top of that, on top of the 8,800, you're gonna, and this is figured at the low end of their pay scale. If you have to pay overtime, which we do because we're a 24-hour operation, now you're gonna be set back another $13,000 just to pay overtime to cover those 640 hours. So right there, you're at $21,000 that our 2021 budget is taking a hit on. You know, and another, and this is what's odd to me, according to the resolution and according to our policy, but the resolution further states, if carried over and is not used by April 30th, 2021, the employees will lose unused carried overtime. They're going to lose that benefit. But however, according to our policy, if they leave, they won't get it and they're going to lose it. However, if I only had, let's say, 10 hours on here that I was carrying over, and January 1st, I'm going to get another 120 hours because of our vacation policy. So if I quit on March 10th and I don't use that 20 hours that I carried over, I'm going to lose that, but then you're going to pay me for 120 hours on my time that comes out of that budget. To me, it makes no sense. If somebody would quit, we're going to lose 10 hours, but we're going to pay them 120 hours of their vacation. So I'm just asking you guys to reconsider this because it's not, I don't think that it's right for us department heads to, if it affects anybody else, and it probably doesn't. I mean, they're going to have departments that's going to have some carryover, but they're not a department that is 24-hour staff that has to have coverage in all aspects of their building. So I would ask to reconsider that. You know, just off the sheriff's budget alone, $21,000. He didn't budget for it. I know I didn't budget for it because it's things that are not budgeted for that. Is there any questions or?
So I would speculate that the reason why the policy encourages using or losing is because of the vacation accrual can create a liability, especially for people who have a hard time taking vacations, or at least that's the way it was in the industry that I serve.
Not only occur, but during your first 2.5 years on these 6 employees that this affects, that they occurred for this long, that's their benefit to occur for whenever.
Yes.
But then on your 3rd year, then that's when you get the 120 hours. You know, there's several options. You know, I was always told, and my current boss always tells me, don't bring a problem to the table unless you have solutions. There's several solutions in this aspect. The short term would be to hold monies back from the 2020 budget to pay for the 2020 vacation. That's what it was budgeted for. That's the year that it was budgeted for. That's just in my opinion. Long term, look at several options that other companies and industries and counties do, state, to look at other possible policies to revamp ours. Ours hasn't been changed that I can think of since 2002. We're 18 years down the road, going on 19. You know, a lot of things have changed in those 18, 19, 20 years. So I would strongly urge whether it's the current commission or the future commission, to strongly look at revamping or changing or doing something different with this policy. And like I said, there's many options, you know, which I've looked at that we won't get in today because that's for a discussion. But what I'm here in front of you today is how this is going to adversely affect at least our budget at the sheriff's office and at the jail for this. I think mine, if I went off of the paperwork, was 6,000, 21,000. So right off the bat, you're looking at $25,000 to $27,000 if everybody takes these. And I've got 2 employees, or actually, there are 2 employees that aren't going to be able to use it just because they're in training right now. And I really think that that's bad on our part, because they choose to move up the ladder. We're going to penalize them, and then they don't get to use anything, and they don't even get a dime out of it, even though it's a benefit. So I would.
So if my memory serves me correctly, the policy to allow additional time to utilize the vacation was a request, probably the first time I remember it, and I could be wrong, was following the move to the new correctional facility, and the difficulty in scheduling for people to have to use it or lose it.
Sure.
So we extended that window, and we found ourselves perhaps in a similar situation where it was requested that we extend that window. We considered COVID and the challenges that has played with staffing. You know, currently our treasurer's office is not functional because of that adverse impact.
Sure.
And so it made sense for us to extend that, and indirectly, I thought I was doing it per your request. But maybe,
I'm not asking.
and maybe we didn't really think about the long-term, let's just say, implications of that. I know many businesses, when you accrue 2 weeks, that shows up as, you know, as a liability.
Mhm.
And so there are other entities that do a better job at tracking what that liability is and cashing people out, you know, when they quit.
Sure.
But
Well,
I
and
don't, I, you know, I can't
And to
really
go
comment.
back on that, if they're going to cash them out when they quit, why not cash them out if they don't use their, if
they stay.
if they, well, no, I mean, in the long run, like I said, there's several options, but in the long run, at the end of the year, if employee A has 20 hours, it's going to be cheaper in the long run to pay them, or you're going to have to carry money over
And the overtime.
to pay them, and then overtime and the
I
whole
get it.
9 yards. So
I
it's going to be, you know, it's cheaper to keep, you know, it's cheaper to pay them in the long run because it's already budgeted in. I'm not asking for any type of more of a extended period for these employees. I'm just bringing to the commission the problems that I see with this policy and how it affects the upcoming budget, and we're not even there.
Downstream. I
So,
appreciate that.
I just hope that you guys would take that in consideration, maybe pass it around the table, and maybe see some of what I said as far as not budgeting $27,000 in carryover time with overtime and paying them out of our budget. Lynn, do you have anything?
Oh, I don't know, you know, I'm thinking it over.
Yeah, I see your wheels turning.
You know, we've had a discussion on vacation many times. You know, and I do believe that when we set the new commission, we should revisit vacation again. You know, Clifton and I are kind of on the same page on a couple issues. I've always said that, and I've made a public statement that not only the vacation stuff, not necessarily, but progressive wage scales. You know, I've always been kind of one of those that, you know, you got a target to hit, and if you make it attractive enough, they're gonna stay. If you don't, they won't.
Right.
So, you know, maybe when we get the new commissions set, we can check this out. Now, on the budget side of it, just from what little I know, I don't think we can just carry it over. It's gonna take a budget amendment, and we always do budget amendments if we have to at the end of the year. And if we have just cause, it's great. We did it this year because of the impact that COVID had on our workforce.
Sure.
You know, so I don't see it as a problem on, you know, the monetary side of it.
Right. I just didn't know if you guys had thought about that as far as, you know, carrying it over and how it affects our budget when we don't budget for it.
And I think the commissioners would be really open to have a discussion on that.
Good. And, you know, we're different on the law enforcement side versus any other department just because of the fact of the 24/7, the law enforcement will. You know, if somebody goes on vacation for a week at the Public Works, they don't have a pool that they can, you know, call for people. That truck probably doesn't get started and doesn't move, and they just pick up the slack and roll on. I and the sheriff does not have that luxury to do that. So I thank you for your
It's
time.
more like milking cows and less like growing wheat.
Sure. Pardon, Lynn?
Hey, thanks for coming in.
Yep, thanks. Have a Merry
Hey,
Christmas.
appreciate
You too, man. Kendall, do you have a liquor license? Just two?
Then I'll have two.
Okay.
Or a double. I don't care either way.
It's almost New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So these are liquor license permit for $50 per permit, and this is Sugar Valley and Lake Home Associations, and this is up at Hidden Valley. And this is for both on and off premise license. Says Sugar Valley and Lake Home Association Incorporated having paid the above named county $50, Bourbon County, as evidence of the receipt thereof, is hereby authorized to sell cereal malt beverages for consumption on the premises at the following location: 93 Hackberry Road in Mapleton, Kansas. Permit will expire the 31st of December 2021, unless sooner if revoked. Non-transferable. The second one is same place, Sugar Valley Homes Association.
But enable them to do cash and carry.
Right. Evident thereon hereby authorized to sell somewhere beverage for consumption off the premises at the following location: 93 Hackberry Road, Mapleton, Kansas. Expires at the same time, 31st December 2021, unless sooner revoked and is non-transferable. So I would entertain a motion to,
I move that we
32?
accept those two licenses for cereal malt beverages.
second, any discussion?
So what's the difference between, I mean, cereal malt, does that go through beer or does
That's
it
beer.
include wine?
Here,
I think wine's separate.
Wine's a different one?
yeah,
And what would wine be?
I think it's wine.
here,
Okay,
here,
No, it's called something different.
so there's
Wine,
three
wine,
different
beer.
levels of licensures, if you will,
It depends on whether you're consuming on premises or carrying.
or carrying off.
And then wine is different than beer and packaged liquor.
Then I got another question. Is there still 3.2 beer in Kansas?
I don't think so. I don't know if anybody sells it or not. I know that when we approved the 5-0, that they shut down all the locations so they could upgrade to the 5-0.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any 3.2.
Because the convenience stores, I think, also,
What's that?
convenience stores also went to.
Right.
Went to 5%. Was that recently or?
Yeah,
Last year.
this year.
Last
Okay.
year, right?
What, fall, wasn't it? Nah,
It was
I don't
earlier
remember.
than that.
So
Maybe-
what preceded this? Was it you know, back in the day,
What triggered it?
it was
We
18, and did it go to 21?
Oh, yeah, that was federal though.
And was that 80s, 90s, or when did that happen?
Decades ago.
Okay.
I don't know.
It was after my 18th birthday and well after my 21st birthday, put it that way.
So it's so confusing. I think in Missouri, people would come over here to buy beer because you could start buying at 18, and
Right. But then the
I don't know,
federal-
people go over there because they could buy it on Sunday, and I don't know, it's pretty confusing.
But then it also then included a percentage of food that had to be sold in the same establishment.
Right.
And that was then moved aside.
Because of primarily because a brew house wanted to have an establishment without
That's right.
opening a
Without
restaurant.
That's where she.
So that was kind of the local,
Example, but it had been done elsewhere.
Yeah, so
Right.
that changed.
But you know, that all
Yeah, that was 2
the
years ago.
establishment changed from Walmart clear down to convenience stores.
Right.
you gonna take a vote? Aye.
I did ask you to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now, the Sunday sales in the city of Fort Scott, that's a whole nother,
Yes.
thing that we won't even get into.
Give me something to write about besides beer, guys.
So so Sunday sales is allowed in certain places or at certain times, right?
Well, right now it's allowed within the city of Fort Scott between noon and 8,
You got
I'm sorry,
anything?
what was the?
Sunday sales.
The Sunday sales.
Till 8.
Did I not give it to you?
It's 1 to 8, 1 to 8, I think.
Or is it?
No,
it's
yeah,
noon to
okay.
8.
Sign it here.
This?
Yeah.
Something like that.
But there's some discussion as to whether that can just be done by ordinance or not.
What's that? There are. Yes, ma'am.
So the calendar, are we meeting next week?
No,
And we're not meeting the week after?
no,
Right, none on the 29th or the 5th.
not unless we have an emergency.
You're meeting on the 5th, so we won't have a polling
No.
place here, so.
We're not meeting on the
She's in the middle of an election,
None
so
on the 29th or the 5th.
figure, Jeff.
Well, it's been a pleasure to work with you and the
It's
commission.
been quite the 4 years that we've tackled a lot of things.
Kendall,
happened
I've
in the
enjoyed
last
it.
2 years. Wow,
This is the last scheduled meeting of 2020.
yes. But if you look back at what we've had into
Count
the
it a
last 4
joy.
years, started with the closing of Mercy Hospital and has not let up since.
Well, I hope you all will maintain your binders concerning the advisory board information, because I intend to supplement that over your
Yeah, well,
Christmas break.
I'll give you some advice.
Okay,
Have a happy New Year's and Merry Christmas.
I'm still gonna send it to you whether you read it or not. So, and we'll be ready to have a very aggressive conversation in
You okay?
2021.
Very good. Always a pleasure.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll-
Do you have anything, Kendall?
I don't need a signature, I'm trying to get our longevity ready, so I will need a signature.
What was that?
Longevity.
Holler. I'm around.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Y'all have a safe holiday.
You
Thank
do
heavens
this.
you knew the word was accrued.
Yeah.
I thought-
Accrued?
I thought I was gonna lose my mind.
Accrued what?
You know, the-
Accrued comment?
I think she was talking about lobby.
What's that?
She was talking about lobby, or saying occurred instead of accrued, talking about vacation.
Yeah, we go through this conversation at least once a year.
That's what I heard, and she'll go on she was talking about erratic driving, but she kept saying exotic driving.
That might fit the bill.
And then whenever we got the word corrected with hers, we thought this was gonna get good.
Then we went into the intricacies of cereal malt.
Yeah, cereal malt.
Gentlemen, it's been real.
Well, take a breath. Without a mask.
Hey. Oh, for the blood pressure?
Blood pressure.
Oh,
You
okay.
guys approved it.
I think I got one here. You can do that. I really don't need it. You can have it.
Sure. Did you go with refurbished or?
But there we know, we get, yeah, three-man. This is one we're up to 29,000. That's it. You agree? Yes. 27,181.22 with a 6 month. Yeah.
Copy that.
I can.
In case you need it.
Hey, maybe 10 years from now, it's gonna be a cure. Yeah, you know, it's a COVID, we're looking for a cure. Want a cure, not a. Use it or lose it is your perfect is.
Too bad, well, you have a Merry Christmas.
Eliminating those surprises.
What's that?
I have a few other questions.
All right. More than actually fun.
I need to come.
Take the rest.
Yeah, I need to.
Not that much until we get the job.
Well, I mean, ties into remodeling.
No.
It's something, several executive sessions.
I'll look at a lot of.
Which one?
This one took up 3.
Yes. Those are the ones talking about. Jurisdiction.
Negotiation.
Employer, employee.
I got it. Let me see.
That would be right.
There.
Not technically employee.
No, it's not for it. Maybe I just pitch down. Maybe. If I have a digital copy of all this stuff. So,
Everybody looks the same.
okay, matter related to employee negotiations. Is that right? Yep, that's it. Negotiations.
Okay.
So it's that covers anybody that's may,
So you gave permission for just a contract. You're creating a new position.
yes,
What are the responsibilities?
work hard, save us money.
I mean,
We haven't defined it totally yet, it's gonna be kind of, it's a business name, so it's and it's gonna be in your area, and take on a lot of responsibilities for, just some business issues that we face every day.
you have a filled position.
Huh?
You have a filled position.
Oh, yeah. Get the contract together, and then we'll see where we go from there.
It seems to me like my
So, well, I would think by the term contract, you have somebody already.
No, I can't say name the person,
Right. So it's not, it won't be an advertised position.
probably not. I'm not I'm gonna say more than likely not.
You know you're gonna draw some flack for that.
Yes.
What's that?
You know you're gonna get
I'm,
some flack for that.
what's that?
You'll get some flack for that.
For what?
If,
For not advertising well?
a county job.
It'll be very apparent by, once it's done.
It'll be what?
Very apparent. Because it's not a full-time position.
It's what?
Not a full-time position.
Not full-time. But you haven't worked out have you worked out the salary and all that?
Working on it, that's part of the contract.
What can you say on the medical home?
The continuing saga of negotiations. You know, I don't really get into, I really don't get into much on the medical law myself.
You
Yeah.
appointed, so you appointed today.
Clifton is
Commissioner
now
Bell to take-
the lead on them negotiations
Okay. For what?
for talking to the parties, nursing room and the other entities that we want in there. And Mercy.
So I know there hasn't been a lot of movement on that, so this is still the idea of leasing that space with different entities.
Right.
Right. But you can't talk specifically to the.
Well, I really don't know a lot,
Okay.
because I stay out of that one. Really. If they would've given me permission, I would've been right in the middle of it, and I pretty well stay pretty clear of that. I get some updates, but not a lot.
So what's going forward with the.
But, yep,
Do you anticipate anything in the near future on that?
time to tell, I don't know, you know, it's a, you know how negotiations are. You know, it's a, well, to me, and it's the same story we've been saying forever, is that that we have to make sure that Bourbon County has an emergency room.
Which we do,
Huh?
which we do.
And what we wanna keep on emergency room. Because, you know, an emergency room is really something that has a direct effect on the economy of Bourbon County.
So there's a possibility we could lose that?
Huh?
There's a possibility we could lose it?
No. Yep, not that I'm aware of now. That's what the negotiations are all about. Make sure we keep it,
Keeping everybody here, keeping healthcare here.
keeping healthcare in Bourbon County. That's the goal.
Well, you know, I'm just asking, man, these are questions people are gonna have.
Sure they will.
When they think that
I would, you know, I'd like to be given some
there's no,
answers,
you know,
but I don't have any.
you can't put a lot of information out there, people are wondering what you're doing, what's going on. Because there's a lot of people concerned about healthcare right now, so they're wanting to know.
Well, you know, it's our goal to make sure we keep that healthcare here, and that's what we're doing.
So that medical mall concept is still
It's still
on the
there.
table.
It's still there, that concept is still there. And we're getting closer, I'm not gonna say, but I'm sure, it's just, because like I said, I don't really stay too much into it, because that was Jeff and Jody's bailiwick, and it was, now it's Clifton's bailiwick, and I just don't really get into it, because you can't shoestring meetings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I make sure that I pretty well stay out of that stuff, before when I'm updated here.
Had a big discussion about that last week.
Yes, sir. Well, it's a serious issue.
Yeah, it is.
You can string meetings, somebody's gonna do it.
You can't sit down with one of the other commissioners and
No, I
have coffee
cannot.
at McDonald's.
I cannot do that. I could do it if we had 5, but that still doesn't eliminate the problem, because you can't go out and talk to one, and then turn around and talk to another one on the same
Well,
subject.
I think based on what Justin said, you could talk to another commissioner.
You can talk to another commissioner if you have 5.
At McDonald's over coffee if you're not talking about business.
Yeah, but that's, they're gonna nail you for it, well, you were talking about business, because they don't
How do
want
they
you in
know?
the same,
Yeah, 'cause how do
they
they
don't
know?
even want you in the same room,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, because they don't know.
They don't know. So it's better be safe than
Yeah,
sorry,
it
but you
is.
know, you can't like I say, but they always point to the 5 commissioner thing, because they talk to one, but you can't go out and talk to another one, because in your spring meeting, because you're up there over a quorum, on the same, on the same conversation. So really, you're not buying yourself anything. Except for, you know, talking to one person. I try my best to stay out of trouble.
Well, I don't know, you might be in the wrong seat for that. You might be in the wrong job for that.
Yes, it is always beating on me.
Trouble finds you.
It is.
Okay, thank you, Lynn.
Hey, you
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a call if I need.
You call me if you got
clarification.
questions, and I'll try to answer the best I can.
Thank you, sir. Happy Merry Christmas.
You too.
Happy New Year. Okay. Cause I tried to run it and it tells me there's no choice. There you go. I found the payroll, like I found one that was set up for 12/23. So I found that and I tried to go through the steps and I found this time, so I went back 8 times, it says there's no choice. So,
I don't know, seeing I hear a half hour, anywhere here in this, that near wide open, so it looks like a half hour. Well, I thought to get it out of the road so quick, and we do this thing, ended up, and Monday, 1 o'clock, get it over. Yeah, what time you want? Be fine. I'll touch base with her later. Yeah, I'm sure. Get it out of the road, okay.
I think that they've gotten about everything so far they've asked for from me. They did ask,
They didn't answer $15,500.
not yet, it's coming. They
Okay.
did ask for.
We get that bond proceeds.
They did ask for, the money collected on the jail sales tax, and I asked the treasurer for that last Wednesday, I think it was, and I emailed her again yesterday, and I haven't got it yet. Because they're doing a report, and they're compiling all this data.
Last time I had a cash report, and we didn't still have it, but that week showed it,
Well,
2 weeks ago.
you know, I asked.
I'd like to have a current cash report.
And I don't know if she was here yesterday, I didn't see her, but I did email them all the data I have, and they requested some nice data, and if any of that, anybody had lost their messages, so they've got a lot of data already. So, which, you know, they asked for like major employers, they asked for top 10 taxpayers, they asked for a lot of data in our mill levy, different levies in our county, so they've got a lot of data to start the process, it's just, they're waiting on that piece of it. But I mean, it's tax time and they're busy, so. But they took the data they needed and they were moving forward.
Okay. Okay.
So they have scheduled out 2:30 Monday.
I'll do it.
Are you gonna be here or are they just gonna send it home?
I don't know.
Well, touch base with me before lunch.
I can be here if I have to be.
Well, we'll be using that room and this room. I don't know that you need it.
I don't think so, I can be called. I'll get you the phone number. Okay, thanks.
Have a Merry Christmas, Lynn.
You too. So, the conversation on vacation never changes. As far as I'm concerned, you should not continually add people to your workforce and then say, well, somebody goes on vacation, I got a tax over them. Not the way it is.
Well, I mean, I think you guys did that as a favor, you didn't have to.
Well, that's one thing we did, we were doing it because, and we come in and says, we wanted something different, or pointing out something bad. right, it does. You can't carry over money.
We've got to close the year out. We can't wait until end of April till after Christmas. We've got to close the year so that we are, all
And
done,
that's-
pay all our year costs.
And that's why they don't understand.
So I just think, you guys will live in our room, but you put it as a favor. Yeah, and maybe the
And as far as I'm going to training, you know, my gosh, you know, I can't count the amount of vacation I lost during my career because I was not prone to take 6 week vacation.
And maybe you can policy and pay out at the end of the year for you time.
We did the, what it cost us on that, especially when we were doing accrued vacation for 2 years, it killed us. Cause everybody did.
I've got 3 days off this year and I looked at it.
And,
So,
okay,
yeah, you can't win one.
I know. I quit trying. You know, and you look at the votes, certain things, that should be progressive wage scale. You know, top out in 15 years. But just coming in and then topping out in the first 6 months or whatever is totally ridiculous, because you can't keep, because they don't have any expectation of doing anything better. You know, it's just crazy. Year of more bills. Membership dues for Family Association of Towns.
Okay, send me that.
I don't know. 16th of June, weekend. They are. You know, they got a lawyer there to help us out, special legislative part of the state. I do.